Hey, butterflies. This is your girl, Sharon K. Griffin, aka Madam Butterfly. I hope on today that you are flapping your wings. Yes, I want you to flap your wings and make sure that you enjoy your journey. On today, I have Miss Monet. Miss Monet is a phenomenal woman, but not only is she phenomenal, she has won two, not one, two Grammys. She won a Grammy for The Titanic, and she also won a Grammy for Ask Your Mama, based on Langston Hughes. So, on today, I want you to put your hands together and welcome my special guest, Miss Monet.
Freedom. See a little louder. See a little stronger.
Hey, butterflies. This
Hey,
is your girl, Sharon K. Griffin, aka Madam Butterfly. I have Miss Monet right here, the phenomenal, beautiful Miss Monet on this live. She is a two-time Grammy winning, not selected, Grammy winning artist. And I am so glad that she is gracing us on this evening with her presence. So, Miss Monet,
yes.
tell them all about you and how phenomenal you are. I know you don't like bragging on
You
yourself,
know,
but brag, baby, brag.
I'm
I
so,
love phenomenal women.
oh my God. I'm so like the last person to be like, well, I gosh, my name is Monet. I'm a born and raised California girl from the Bay Area, Oakland, stand up. And yeah, woo, okay, go Raiders, go Warriors, all of us, okay, and everything. Um, and Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty much doing this singing thing for ever, ever, and I mean, probably have sung with some of everyone's favorites. I mean, in every genre too. You know, there's no genre I probably have not touched vocally. So, and a lot of times people say, well, well, who are some of the artists? My starting came from Huey Lewis in the News, and I love telling the story because a lot of times people, if you're not familiar with Huey Lewis in the News, that's how to rock and roll or one new drug. Uh,
Okay.
big band out of the Bay Area, out of San Francisco area, and they literally gave me my first shot. I was 17 years old. I just graduated from high school and went right on the road, like
I
literally
love it.
down, and then next day, bye, I'm going to
Okay.
for 3 weeks.
I have to ask you this because you're so grounded and you're so phenomenal. How do you stay grounded and not like super diva, I'm that bitch, like that whole
Yeah,
thing? Like you're just cool. From the day I met you to
thank
now, you're just cool.
I never wanted to be that kind of person, and I thank God that I have the family that I have.
Okay.
Because my family is that way. They taught me how to and showed me and led by example of how
Okay.
to be who you are. You can be as fly and as that person, but you still have to be humble. I remember a lot
Yeah.
of times my grandmother would say, if make sure you give back to God, make sure you reference, because as easy as you have your gift, he can take it from you. You
Right.
know, and she would constantly remind me, and then I took that, that information and just applied it to life. You
Okay.
don't you can't be bigger than, because God
I,
will show you, just knock
you
you
know, I
back.
know some people who could sing, but because of their attitude, they have not gone anywhere with it. And they have like the blue check mark near their name.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, okay, you could sing, but
yeah.
your attitude is just funky. And I see why you aren't allowed to go but so high.
You know, uh, you can be as dope and as fly and as gifted and as blah 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 as you want to be, but if your spirit ain't right, if your heart
Right.
ain't right, if you're not humbled within yourself, you know what I mean? Don't nobody want to work with you. They don't want them problems. Don't nobody want that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's stressful enough when you're trying to put things together, whether it's a show or something, whatever it is. People just want to, they just want to flow. They just want to buy, you know. And if you come in there on some, I'm this, I'm that, they'd be like, okay, okay. But you can take this over
Yeah.
there. And, you know, people just want, especially when you're being creative,
Okay.
you just want to be like, yeah, you know what I mean? And you know, when someone comes and vex that spirit, it's just like, you just,
Yeah, I know.
and I'm the same way. I know a few people are like, oh, so talented and so da da da, but just nasty. And I'm like, that ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Right. Well, wait a minute. I have to tell the audience, I heard you sing. Well, you came out and you played with it a little bit, right?
Right.
And then you took us somewhere totally different. I forget what artist it was.
Was it Will?
Yes, Will Downing. Honey, I could, okay, I love Will, so I ain't taking nothing away from him. But honey, ah,
Child.
you did the damn thing. You did that thing, and your vocals are so powerful. I was going to say phenomenal.
Thank you.
You're powerful. Do you sing gospel?
Well, I mean, I grew up singing gospel. You know,
Okay.
my whole family literally sings gospel. My matter of fact, my grandparents were our gospel icons, literally from where I'm from. You know, my
Okay.
grandfather was a Baptist preacher, one of the biggest Baptist preachers in Northern California. You know,
Okay.
there was Isaiah Brown, and my grandmother, Geneva Brown, um, was a gospel singer, and both of my grandparents were gospel promoters. So, as the story is told through family and with my mom, you know, all the gospel groups would come from when they came to the Bay Area. They would
Mhm.
come through my grandparents, and you know, so all the quartets and all the choirs and all the, you know, like that. So, growing up in that type of environment, it just you know, is innately in me.
Right.
So
It's part
yeah,
of
I
who you
pretty
are.
much grew up gospel, and yeah.
So we never talked about your family being in ministry.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Mhm.
I come from a lineage of of preachers myself. However, I had to kind of separate myself from that. Not God,
Right. Right. From that, it's a
from
difference.
that, from that,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just to get my own relationship. I'll say that.
Yeah. And that's
Um,
funny you say that because you know it's one thing I remember just you know going back on some of the things my grandmother used to say to me, and she was an advocate. You know, to be you know a first lady of a church and all that, and to be my grandmother like she is, you know. Geneva Brown, and people are like, your grandmother's Geneva Brown. I'm like, yeah, you know,
yeah,
but to come from that, she was an advocate of me figuring it out on my own.
that's
You know,
beautiful.
and I thank God for that, having that type of person. Um, you know, she didn't pay me over the head with it. She brought
Right,
me
like
to
most
it.
of our parents do.
You know what I'm saying? Brought me to it. But she would always say, you got to know it for yourself. You got to find
I
out for
love
yourself.
that.
You
I
got to
love
do
your
it for
grandma.
yourself. And, you know, and I used to be like, okay. And, you know, and as a child, you know, adolescent and preteen and teenager, we don't understand. Now as an adult, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
because your own as you go through life, and of course we all hear it as they always say, keep living. That too,
Yeah.
um, always just made now it makes so much sense to me and for me, you know,
Okay.
especially in my own journey, in my own life journey, just moving forth, knowing God for myself. So you know, when you have our own personal testimonies, you are speaking from a place of truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I did seek it for myself. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
So I'll just
So
say
do
you got
you
to get your finding on yourself for you.
do you preach as well? Because you know when you come from that, normally you kind of inherit that too.
Right. I honestly don't have that spirit in me, you know,
Okay.
um, and not a preaching spirit, but more of a evangelistic aspect. You know, I
Okay.
think when I sing, ministry comes that way.
Okay.
because there's times where I can have a whole R&B show and flip that thing into church quick, you
I
know.
love it.
And I just think it's just a ministry because at that point, it's just God using me as a vessel. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes, I
And
do.
it's just, and you can feel it because it starts to build, build, build. So I believe, that's my ministry doing it that way and everything.
Okay.
But I don't have the preaching spirit in me, but
Okay.
you never know what happens.
But honey, you put some funk on it. You do.
I'm
Now, is
Monet. I Monet'd it, as I say. I Monet'd it. Yeah.
what's your favorite song that you like to sing?
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's a few. Oh gosh. I would say,
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot.
no,
I'm
it's
so
okay.
sorry.
God, I just love music. I mean, it
Okay.
could be something. I'm so random sometimes. I mean, really, I can be in here and just break out to Requiem, Mozart's Requiem in the house.
Okay.
And my boyfriend's like, "Are you serious right now?"
You said boyfriend.
Yeah,
You got a man now. I mean, and I'm not saying it like now, but
right. No,
okay,
it's still good. It's still,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 3 years,
The super fine one.
3 years, child.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. It relationships. I'm sure we'll get into that
Right,
later on, but
right, right.
it has its things. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
you just got to work at it. It's a work in progress. That's what it is. It's a relationship, and whether it's business or or personal or whatever, you have to find your common now. Your common ground in that. So, but I think we pretty much got our thing going now. So I think we're good. He just gets
I
to learn.
think that's beautiful.
You know.
So wait a minute. I saw you put up that left hand. So soon? Is-
Ah. I'm not rushing it.
3 years ain't rushing it.
I ain't rushing it. Uh-uh.
Okay,
Mm-mm. I
okay.
ain't rushing it. I ain't rushing that at all. And it's not that. It's just for me,
Yeah,
I'm just the person who's like when the time comes and it's ready, we're ready. You know what I mean? And not saying neither person is or is not. It's
yeah,
just when it's right.
right.
And I think that he and I both have things that we want to do for ourselves before committing into that next phase. He's been married before. I have not. So for him, especially as I watch him and him coming, having been married and now divorced and going through those processes, it's good to see him coming to his own being, his own self, his
I
own
love it.
everything.
Yeah,
Um, because there's times where you aren't, you're just kind of tethering to a situation, and for the first time he's being able to just flourish on his own. You know what I mean?
that's
And
a
I like
beautiful
seeing
thing.
that part, that growth in him.
Okay,
You know what I mean? And then even with myself, it's just like things that I'm totally looking forward to it, but
okay.
I'm not rushing it. If that
Got you.
makes sense, everything.
So, what are some areas of growth that you find that you need to do for you?
Oh wow. Um,
Because you're the package, but go ahead.
I'm the unicorn.
I love it.
I'm the unicorn. You know what? Growth, I think, just to continuously be and trust my own self.
Okay.
Trust my own instincts. Trust, and I always have. But I think as I'm getting older, you start to kind of look around you and be like, okay, am I where I need to be, or da da da. And I never tried to put myself a time limit. I guess is what
Okay.
I'm saying on myself. Some people say, well, by the time I'm this, by the time I'm 30, by the time I'm da 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 da, I used to do that,
Okay.
internally, but now I'm learning to wean away from it and just let God do what He do. Number one,
Right.
and just don't even give yourself a limit. Just do it
Do you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, just like talking to God, like, okay, God, what's next? Or how do I do this? Or how do I do that at this point? Because I don't know how old you are. I know I'm 50.
I just turned 48.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
beautiful.
On the
Black don't
1st, but I'm
black
still,
don't crack.
I'm still celebrating. Girl, people are like, you 48? I'm like, they're like, 48 where? So that's why my birthday hashtag every year I put hashtag 48 where. Last year was 47 where because people were like, 48 where? House
Black
away.
don't
How
crack,
where is it
baby.
at? I'm like, you should see my mama. She's about to be
Oh,
72 and she looking like she 40 something.
look, a whole snack.
Get it from my
But
mama. But 48.
you know,
But
but
yeah,
just asking God, like, yo, God, what's next, or what do we do, especially now?
yeah. Um, all the time. All the time. You know, especially now with the pandemic and things that we're doing and being pretty much forced to be still. You know,
Yes.
this is the first time in a long time that I've been pretty much forced to be still, and I was completely fine with it because prior to, I had already, you know, had an epiphany from my own personal selves as far as what I wanted to do next within my career, my life, everything, and that
Okay.
was, you know, spearheaded the thought of me relocating from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, just to do something new, just to, you know, left, you know, not left, but, you know, retired from the artist I was singing with. I had been for 20 years, which was Boss Skaggs, for
Okay.
22 years, excuse me, you know, walked away from that situation and just,
Okay.
you know, they just kind of gave me time because I hadn't done it. I had been on the wheel, you know, constantly on tour and singing and
Okay.
performing. I found myself had been doing that for like 10 years nonstop, you know.
Wow. How do
So
you do that? Like, just constantly on the road for like 10 years straight. Like, does life pass you by?
it does. It really does. I mean, there was a lot of. I realized how much I had missed. Uh,
Okay.
Once the first year, I said I'm not touring, and I retired from the artist, and I took that year off, and that's when I pretty much, you know, came up with the epiphany to move because I had been in my house. I had bought my house in 2009, and here I was in 2017. And this was the first time I literally like walked around my whole house and was like, wow, this is beautiful,
Your house is beautiful.
you know. And this is my house in LA.
Oh, okay, okay,
This
okay,
is my house in LA. And, you know, I was like realized at that moment because my house in LA, it was like, you know, this huge, big 5-bedroom house and had my grand piano in the front and this, that, and the
okay.
other. And, you know, and now I'm home and I'm just here. And I'm like, okay. And I literally walked to every room in my home and sat down and looked at it like, wow.
Wow.
And hadn't at that moment I realized, okay, couple things. I probably should move because this house, as beautiful as it is, I've never lived in it.
Okay.
It deserved to be lived in. It deserved to be full and a family and a whole bit.
Got
I
you.
wasn't giving it that. And if I stayed in it, I'd never fill it up the way it
Okay.
deserved to be. So that's when I made the decision to, you know what, let me go somewhere else. And, you know, I
Okay.
ended up renting it out and I just sold it actually. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But it was the first time that, like I said, I was able to really appreciate my home.
Yes.
Um, it was the first time that I was able to travel with my parents. Every year they would go back east to visit my sister, who was then living in DC, and
Okay.
because she went to Howard, graduated, and literally stayed in DC. And they would go every year, and every year I would miss it. This was
Got
the
you.
17 was the first year I was able to go with them to DC and hang out. I hadn't done that
Oh,
ever, you know.
okay.
Um, this was the first year that I was home long enough to curate a relationship. That's how I
Yeah.
met my boyfriend. Um,
Okay.
'Cause I was on the road, you know, and then one of the issues the men I would come in contact with loved me to death, but they were like, you always gone, and
Right. You didn't have time for a relationship.
time, or and I understood, your man want his woman home sometime, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or if she's not there, that I can't get mad if you turn the other cheek, or to the other.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm a realist. Can't be mad at a man for. I'm not.
Having needs and wanting to fulfill those needs.
Can't be mad. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there.
Right.
It wasn't there, and a lot of women be like, "Well, he ain't got no bit." I'm like, no, keep it real with yourself.
So is the life of an artist
Mhm.
all what it's cracked up to be?
No, it's all smoke and mirrors, people. It is what you make it. I think a
Okay.
lot of times what is seen on the forefront is is what the facade. That's what they want you to see. It's the
Okay.
depiction of. You know what I mean? They want you to see, the lights, camera, action, and the makeup, and the this, and the parties, and the da 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 da. And I'm like, it ain't nothing like that. I
Okay.
remember one time, my best friend's husband, he had this joke. He was somewhat serious, but he was like, I bet Mona, I bet you got a guy in every city.
Well, most men do. Most men have a woman in their
No.
city.
He's like, I bet you got a man. Monet, she got a dude in every city. And I was like, do I? I said, well, how? He's like, you do. And I was like, okay, let me break down a typical day for me. Okay.
Okay.
We'll ask that question again. I said, so I pull into a city. So I'm going to start from coming off the stage. Come off the stage, go into my dressing room, unmonet myself. That's what I start taking all the makeup and the hair.
Uh-huh.
Unmonet myself, put on my bus clothes so I can get on the tour bus. Get on the tour bus. Probably we have a drive, and depending on how long the drive is, it's depending on how long I'm going to be able to sleep. So if the drive is like 4 hours, you kind of trying to stay up 2 hours and maybe lay down too, but not really get a deep sleep. Or if it's
Okay.
longer than that, then okay, let me go in and I can kind of stay up a little later so I can sleep a little longer. So you
Gotcha.
figuring out that aspect of it, get on the bus, have a glass of wine, hang out for a little bit, get on, get out, get in your bunk. Okay, you pull into the city, get out your bed, drag your bags. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning, check into the hotel, go upstairs, get back in your bed, hoping you can fall right back into slumber because you don't
Okay.
want to be up. Go to sleep, wake up about 8 or 9 so you can eat breakfast, eat a little bit, come back, hit the gym, come back, shower, get your show clothes ready,
Okay.
grab your stuff, drag your stuff off out of the hotel because you got to check out at 3 o'clock, throw it back on the tour bus, get to sound check. A sound check's at 4:30. Get a
Okay.
sound check. Do your sound check from 4:30 to 5:30. Dinner's at 6. But guess who has to do their own makeup and hair? I start that at
Wow.
6:30. So I only got a 30-minute window to eat a little bit of something because I can't eat too much because I gotta sing. So okay.
Right. Right.
Boom, boom, eat a little something, get to my dressing room, start my makeup, start my hair, get my clothes on. Boom, the show's at 8 o'clock, ready to go. 8 o'clock on stage. Now,
Wow.
all of that, now say that same scenario and then come off stage and do it all over again. Unmonet myself, have a glass of wine, get back on the bus. It's an
That
off
don't seem fun.
right. It's an
Is,
off day.
is
Check
that
in your
why?
hotel, and then you're like, oh, I have a day off. Well, the last thing I want to do is anything. So your day
Okay.
off, you're just, and I'm a girl, so I'm looking for where I can get my nails done or
Right.
whatever. Sometimes you got to look for where I can do laundry. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Off day, I would usually find a mall so I can get my nails done, walk around, find something to eat. Or if I don't go to the mall, order room service to stay in my room all day just to wake up and do it all over again. So
Now,
ask me where I can have a man at every day. That
and
was
that's true. That's too much. So that whole schedule you just like ran down, is
mhm.
that why a lot of artists or some artists like do cocaine or whatever so they can like be up and moving? Because I wouldn't have energy based on what you described.
Probably. I think a lot of times when people find themselves using substances like that, it's for some other kind of reason other than
Okay.
trying to. I think they're trying to escape something internally or
Okay.
psychologically. Usually, um, uh, But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It depends on what, if you're trying to stay up for some reason and everything. A lot of
Right.
people do turn because they got to stay on, they got to stay on, they got to stay alert, they got to, you know, um,
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with it.
yeah. And for some reason they've chosen that to be their vice when it doesn't.
Right.
You don't need that. You could just sleep is a wonder. Go to
Okay.
bed. You ain't got to be
How,
partying all night. You got to say
how'd
no.
you how'd you function in LA? Because I love that city. Like I love that city.
LA was good.
Okay.
I was in LA for 16 years.
Okay.
When I relocated from the Bay Area in '02, and I lived there all the way up into 2018.
Okay.
I was, LA was good. Everything. I would always tell people because people like, think about moving to LA, da, da, da,
Mhm.
and for industry or whatever. And I would say, it's a cool place to be. As they say, be in it, not of it.
Got you.
That's the key. Be in it, not of it. You know what I mean? Find your way of escape. When I moved to LA, and especially when I bought my home, my house was at the base of the mountains, and I purposely wanted to be somewhat isolated, even where I am now, but somewhat isolated. So when you go home, you're saying, I'm going home. I'm
Right.
leaving all that behind me. I don't have to deal with all the crazy. I don't want the, you know, I don't want to be just the influence,
Okay.
influence of the city and I'm doing the same thing here in Vegas. I live in a private area, gated, and ironically, I'm right in the middle of the city. I'm in Paradise,
Right.
but I'm so tucked away and hidden that when I come home, I don't have that stimulation of the strip or anything else. So,
Okay.
but yeah, and that's the only way you can deal with LA. Just be in it, not of it. Don't let
Okay.
it absorb you because it can.
Now, I know that a lot of celebrity people are kind of leery of who they attach themselves with or who they are friends with.
Hmm.
Um, I found you to be very inviting. Um, I don't know if it's because our energy just connected,
Right.
but how do you keep yourself safe from wolves
Right.
in sheep clothing?
You kind of have to have that sense of discernment, I guess.
Okay.
You know, um, First of all, first of all, you got to look at, how is this person entering into your,
Your space.
into your space. You know,
Okay.
are they being brought in from someone, or how's it coming? And you really have to kind of look at that. And again, trust your instinct, trust your discernment, trust that part of it. You can converse with someone and really really get to talk to them and everything, but they show you immediately. You
Who
know,
they are.
yeah, a lot of people say, well, they hide. Yeah, people always come with the representation up front, but in once you start talking to somebody, you can
You
kind of be like,
know. But
okay,
you know what? A lot of women won't go with their gut.
yeah,
They'll see certain things about different people and they'll make excuses for those things, whether it's a friendship,
hmm,
whether it's trying to get into a relationship with a particular gentleman.
hmm,
Could you tell women how to navigate that gut feeling, that thing that God has given all of us
hmm.
to protect us?
You just really have to. I don't know how to say it. I mean, it's just, I mean, you get that tinge. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You get that little thing and everything. And I usually with people, what I've learned from personally from myself is I gave everybody that straight up clean slate, clean board, no expectation at all with
Okay.
everything. Because when you put that on the table and they let you down, you're like, okay, wow, you know. And I say that, like, for example, I before I started dating, I mean, with my boyfriend, him and anybody else prior to, what I learned, I would always come to it and say, hey, if I made a new friend, cool,
Right.
cool. You know what I mean? You go
Yeah.
into you always going into any situation with people as who you are, and be confident, and be, and not confident, but be comfortable with whatever the outcome is going to be, because I'm not coming here looking for anything.
Right.
I'm not coming to it trying to gain from it. You know,
Right.
I'm coming to it just being who I am, and letting it just flow. Again, letting it show itself. It will reveal.
Do people allow you to just be you, as opposed to Miss Monet, the Grammy Award winning artist?
You have to, what I've learned, I've been able to separate the two. You know,
Okay.
I've been able to say, you know, and again, kind of getting back to when you have a good tribe around you, and family and friends who remind you, because it's like, yeah, I'm Monet, Monet, Monet all day long, and blah 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 blah. But when I come home, my boyfriend's like, Kanisha. I'm like, huh?
Right.
You know, or as my sister's best friend, he calls me Kanisha. You know,
Okay. Okay.
because that's how my grandmother used to say my name. So he calls me how
Okay.
my grandma would say Kanisha. I'd be like, swear. You know, it's good to have those people, because and everything. It's like, I don't flaunt the celebrity aspect or try to, you keep it separate and everything. And I think you want people to feel like, you know, they can approach you, but you also have to put it kind of, you have to give yourself some of that,
Right.
separate a little bit, give yourself some of that, so they don't cross that line, and you navigate how far you allow that to be. You know,
Okay.
how
Okay.
people, Monet, 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 Monet. I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna be Monet though. Monet
Right.
loves everybody. I'm that girl. You know what I'm saying, like that. But even like that, you got to know how to put people in place. I've had
Right.
situations where, I mean, I literally had this one lady come up, because I'm top heavy. I got breasts, and she literally came up and squeezed them.
Okay. And
My
how'd you
first
handle that?
the look on my face was like, I
Okay.
and so after she did it, I said, "Well, did you enjoy it?"
I love it. I love it.
Because if you're gonna go there, I'm gonna go there with you and for you.
Uh-huh.
I'm not
Uh-huh.
gonna
Uh-huh.
walk away looking crazy, and they ain't gonna be me.
Got you.
And she said she was like, "Well, I want to know if they were real." And I says, "Well, are they? Did you enjoy them? Would you like to buy some?" You know. And she was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm a little drunk." I'm like, "Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
But
So
you won't do it again."
I have to ask, did you buy them?
No, these mine, so baby. My great grandmother would say, "I'm sorry, Nisha. I'm sorry."
So
So my great
obviously
grandma,
your grandma had she was full of time.
oh my God, it, my great grandmother was just hanging. And I remember, you go and walk in and you see me like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And she gathering.
Did she hide stuff under them like money?
Help me with my brassiere. And this is my great grandmother. This is I
Okay.
love her. My grandmother's mother, my great grandmother, and she was the cutest little old woman. But this woman had breasts, man. And she'd be like, "Nisha, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Did it to you." I'm like, "Grandma,
Oh my
okay,
goodness.
great, fine. They're here. They're mine. Okay,
I think that's beautiful.
yeah, that's cool.
So after COVID is over, I don't know when it's going to be.
Right,
Where do you plan on traveling? Like just to get away. I know you just came back.
right. As I say, when outside open,
Yes, when outside open.
outside, open, I've often wondered exactly where would I go, or what would I do and everything. I'm thinking, and my sister kind of dropped this in my head earlier this morning, but I think it would be necessary to take my mom or go on another journey with my mom. She wanted to go to Paris. She wanted to go to France. And
Oh,
when my grandmother passed some years back, I took my mom to Europe for the first time.
nice.
And it was my sister, my mother, and myself. and we went to Italy. And we were there
Okay.
for 2 days, and we actually were able to train with like a Tuscan chef and do we learned how to
Okay.
cook, some good Tuscan and Italian authentic food, country food, not
Okay. Okay.
restaurants, some real what grandma and them over there eat, but all of them.
Yes.
Yes. And we were there, and that was her first time going, and she got to see, the David statue, the real David
I
statue.
know, right?
We're all like,
With
and,
his penis out,
the
all
whole
up in
thing.
your face.
And we're all like, whoa, okay, getting all the stories because we had a guide who took us into,
Nice.
got to see the Duomo and just everything, and it was a beautiful experience because to look at my mom and see, I hadn't been here before and I've done all this, but it was a beautiful experience to bring her and
Nice.
see her face and see just her reactions to everything. Like, wow,
That's beautiful.
flew her first class and everything because I had two first
Oh,
class. So I gave my sister and my mom. I put them in first class, and I flew coach. Just
okay.
so they both can
That's
be,
nice. Nice.
And my mom the whole time was like, "Yeah, this is okay."
This is the life.
Yeah, so I think when outside opens back, I think I want to just do another something like that. Again, coming off of losing my father this past June. So
Sorry to hear. Rest well.
thank you. So I think something like that will be necessary. The first with the
Okay.
three of us just to go and take her and make her. You can tell her we got to walk up the Eiffel. She ain't gonna like that. She gonna do
Have
it.
you been there?
Oh my gosh.
Lots
True
of
story.
times.
True story. So, like I was saying earlier, I was with Huey Lewis in the News. That's who introduced me into making me Monet, who I am today,
Okay.
17. Now, at 17 years old, I go on tour Europe 3 months.
Nice.
And one of the places, of course, we are in Paris. And so, you go to Paris, you gotta go to the Eiffel, right? So
Right?
it was myself. I remember it was myself and the other vocalist. So I was singing with her name is Sandy Griffith, and our horn player, his name is Marvin. And we're going to Eiffel. So we go to the Eiffel, and we're going. And we get to the very top. And I get up there and I'm like, that's it.
Uh-huh. Did you eat at that restaurant up there?
Well, we walked through it. I didn't go in it and everything.
Okay.
We kind of walked through it and came around. I saw it, but it was just like got to the very top, and I literally was like, okay, so this is it. Like unimpressed,
Okay. Okay.
unimpressed, right?
Okay.
Shows you what maturation does. Because again, I'm 18 years old,
Got you.
unimpressed. But when I went back the next time, I literally cried like a baby.
Oh.
I literally cried I mean, got to the
Oh,
top,
wow.
boo-hooed. And I think at that moment, because I thought about that first time going and how unimpressed I was,
Yeah.
but then I thought about, but then going back and being able to do it again,
Yes.
that moment, it was like, God, thank you. Seriously. Because
I love it.
had you not allowed me this opportunity and blessed me again, to see the world, do something that most people will never do. And here I am doing it a second time, a third time.
Right.
It's
Ain't
like
that good?
you can't tell. And I really literally was like hands up. People was like, what's wrong with her? I was like, thank you, God.
Uh-huh.
Because at that moment you realize how God is blessing you.
Yeah.
Like on the top of the Eiffel Tower, my house is thousands of miles on the other way,
Right.
And I think, when you start looking at things like that, you really, really look at the blessing. And I just thank God that He's allowed my voice to be my way to see the world.
I love it.
Touch people, been some of the most beautiful places, and people are like living vicariously through me and through my eyes, and being able to come home and share those experiences with my family. So like I said, that's one of the things when Outside opens. What I do want to do, and I'm going to push for it first in case I'm trying to lean her off of Paris, but
Okay.
it's her decision. But I've always wanted to get baptized.
Oh, that's
I always
beautiful.
wanted to go and get baptized in the river.
Now, do you want to go over to Jerusalem? Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay.
I always felt because I can do it because
Yeah.
I am a world traveler and I understand the concepts of doing it, but I always felt like it was something necessary for me. But I told my mom a long time ago, and I want to bring it back up when outside opens up. But I said I
Okay.
wanted to get baptized from my grandmother, from my great grandmother,
Okay.
from my family and everything because they never, of course, made it, but they never would have come, you know.
Okay.
But to be so etched in our in my beliefs and
Okay.
the love of God and everything, and understanding what that means to go get baptized in Jerusalem, I think is a great representation. So it would be really, really dope if I can get my mom and my sister, we can make that our family trip and do it together. I,
That'd be
I
awesome.
think that will just
Well, maybe you could take both trips.
Well, definitely, definitely road trips. I mean, I think now that my dad's passed again, I think because we usually do we were doing two trips and then we added a third because we were starting. My dad's like I said, his birthday is July 6th, so we were starting to on the 4th of July start doing another little trip, family
Okay.
thing. And then we do our big, I call it the Quinny family vacation, which started out as four of us, which now ended up being 22 of us, uh,
Wow.
and growing.
That's beautiful.
Last
Oh, I have to tell you this. Tiffany Walter says sorry about your father.
Thank you so much, Tiffany.
She
I
did say
appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah.
He was an awesome man. All I can say is salute to my dad because everybody doesn't get the opportunity to leave here on their terms, and he did. So he did it.
Explain that.
He did it the Quinny way.
Okay.
I say that meaning my dad was a very strong, proud man. Of course, what black men are. But looking back on it, I think he knew he passed from complications of a leaky heart valve.
Okay.
And I think he knew, and the more I found out, he knew for some time, and I think that he was given, there's scenario A, scenario B, scenario C. A is okay, you can live with it, da, 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 you take medication. B is okay, we can do open heart surgery, da, 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 whatever. And I said, I know my dad was like, I'm tell you what, I'm not gonna do.
Okay.
And I just think that in that he just kept it. He just said, I'm just gonna ride this on out and
Okay.
everything. He never made a mention of it. He never,
Wow.
but we knew. Hey dad, what's going on? My sister said, well, what happened to the heart doctor? Oh, my dad. Oh, he said I got a bad heart. What that mean?
Right. Right.
Never talked about it. Never got into whatever.
That
Just
is a black man.
kept it to himself. So looking back at it and then fast forward into it and everything, I told mom, I said, this is what he wanted.
Okay.
And so you have to, even though we selfishly want to keep him,
Yeah.
when he fell ill, when you selfishly want to keep them here and keep him, but he was looking at us like, because at this point they had him on a ventilator, and he was looking at us like he's trying to pull it out. I'm crying like, Daddy, and he's like, like get me out of this shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm done.
Right.
And this nurse was like, he's the strongest, sickest man I know. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. you know. But it was just, you could tell he was just like, y'all, please, like, come on, y'all,
Okay.
And when you know that, and when my dad, he like, and my nickname for my dad was a bear because he loved to sleep. And I said, my dad's a bear. And I was like, all
Okay.
right, bear, go to sleep. Go ahead and sleep, Pop. Go be a bear. That was when I was walking out. I said, go be a bear. Go be a bear.
Wow.
Let them know it was okay. We're good and everything.
Okay.
That's why I
Okay.
said when you do things on your own terms,
Yes.
that's the thing. And he knew and he was okay with it,
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that's why I was like, because other than that, he would have said something about it, this, that, and the other, and he didn't say Pete a Pete. So
Wow.
I salute him in that. Because we all don't get those opportunities.
Right. Right. So
Sometimes decisions is
we
made for you.
we honor him as well, and we
Yes. Yes.
celebrate his life. So
Yes.
I have to ask you to sing
All
something.
right.
I mean, come on, I cannot like have you on here and not sing. Why you crossed your mind? Look, I heard you sing. I know you can blow.
Oh my God. Oh God.
And don't make me cry
I
either.
won't. Um, oh God. What do I want to sing? What do you want to hear?
I don't know. I know if you
Always some
sing.
people. You want me to sing? Okay, what do you want to hear?
Okay, you guys, what do you want to hear Miss Monet sing? If you can just type it in the chat, that would be phenomenal. Okay, you know that song, and I'm not waiting on them.
Uh,
His eye is on a sparrow.
uh, okay,
But you can sing what you want.
that's fine. I can do that.
Okay.
Let's see. My throat.
I know, right? You got your water. You got your water.
Okay, here we go. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows fall? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heavenly home when Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is he.
Dang girl.
His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. His on the sparrow, and I know he watches me.
Okay, girl, stop. I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry.
I'm about to cry.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad I'm not a singer. I wouldn't be able to finish songs, especially, when it's about God.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. He just, again, when you think about just the goodness, even like I say, even going through what we're going through now and everything, God constantly reminds us that He is who He is, the great I am. And every day I wake up and I just say, Lord, thank you. I've seen so many people lose loved ones,
Right.
whether it's through COVID or just natural things or just whatever, everything, and it's enough that can
Yep.
can overwhelm you. I was overwhelmed. I lost my dad, and then a couple of weeks later, a very dear friend of mine, passed him asleep, young guy, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it literally did something to me. Like I had to sit here and I found myself having anxiety. I had a straight up anxiety attack, and I knew it. But I know that my strength in God is what was going to carry
Yeah.
me through. While we're talking about people using substances, do this and everything that
Right.
turns you like that. When you are grounded and you know who holds your faith, when you know who loves you more than anything,
Yeah.
you can accomplish and get through anything.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the strongest people to know. I mean, one of the other, a lot of people don't know this about me, but my degree is in psychology and working my PhD to be a psychologist. And I'm one of people will say, people always call me for advice and this, that, and the other. And I was like, I remember one time I was sitting there like, Lord, I said, who does the strong call when they need?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know? And I literally, I've always turned to him, but I kept my eye, I kept my focus on God. I said,
Yeah.
God, you're the only one that's gonna get me through this and everything, and it's gonna happen. It's going day by day. I'll regain my strength. I'll find that desire. So it's funny you had me sing that song, and I'm tearing up because there's I didn't want to sing for a minute. I
Okay.
didn't want to sing, and it wasn't. I just did the desire to sing, the desire to just, I didn't want to, but I know I'm
Why
gonna have
not?
to find that piece back, everything. And I can hear my dad say, "Girl, you better get on that stage and go sing," you know.
Nice.
And so I'm finding the joy, finding my joy, my healing,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
remember, I know what my voice does for people, but now let me heal with it too. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I find my healing in writing and encouraging
Hmm.
others.
Hmm.
It's just who I am,
Yeah.
so I get it. I
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
but your voice is very healing. It's very
Yeah.
powerful. It's also very soothing,
Thank you.
you know, um, and yes, you do minister.
That's the way.
Wonderful.
You
Yes.
gotta
So,
come through. Thank you.
you
And
know,
that's always my thing. I feel like, if someone doesn't hear me, like, even in the show, I've had many people come up to me after the show and said, I was going through this. I've had people come, I just lost my sister to cancer and this, that, and the other, and all kinds of stuff. And I'm always like, come here, and then I hug them real tight and everything. I've literally hugged people and started to pray for them, you know.
nice.
It's just, again, because the ministry starts there, and then when you don't know who you're touching, you don't know what people. We're all going through something, Like my
Right.
mom has a saying. She says we're all ex somethings. We're
Yeah.
all have an ism of something. So you just have to be obedient as it moves you and moves through you, and be
Yeah.
able to just not push, but wrap yourself around that situation and lift them up, because you don't know who's going to be blessed by it. And I've always,
That's true. Especially in this hour because
especially,
actually suicide is increasing,
it definitely,
and depression and anxiety. So people need your voice and other voices
hmm
to be their healers,
hmm
if that makes sense, to be used by God for them to experience the healing power of God.
yeah,
So that's awesome in itself
yeah,
to know that, especially now, you're needed.
yeah,
Yes, you've been needed all along,
yeah. But
but you really need it now. Have you put on an online concert?
I haven't. I haven't. It's so funny. People are like, "Are you gonna do it?" And I'm like, I'm scared of that,
Why?
and not scared of it, but I just, I'm a Virgo. I'm a
Okay.
perfectionist, and I have OCD really bad.
Okay.
And I'm gonna want the whole band and this and the productions and and it's like, yo, if I can't do it like that, man, I just don't. Kudos to those my peers that do it though. I've seen a few of them, and I'm like, okay, and then I see another of them, I'm like, okay.
Okay. So
So
if you need all of that, can you get it in Vegas and just go somewhere and kind of use all those at, intricate parts?
I think now, in the beginning, we didn't know what was going on, so everybody was scared to move. I
Yeah.
think now people have become, now that we kind of have an understanding of how to personally deal with how we're dealing and maneuver and move about. It might be easier now
Okay.
to kind of figure it out, because now you have more ways of saying, okay, I can perform and have a band, but you over here. I mean, I've even sung in,
Are you over there?
no, seriously, I've sung in a church out here a couple of times, and we're seriously, but the stage is huge, so we're
Okay.
literally placed everyone's place and it's performance. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
now that we've figured out how to maneuver and how to do things, I think it would be easier to do it. So I don't know, I'm thinking of it. Like I said, I had to find my own personal voice again.
Okay.
Just kind of coming from like I said, my father's passing. But I'm
Okay.
like, okay, it's time. I feel it. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back there. And I actually have a situation coming up. I've asked to sing for Habitat of Humanity.
Nice. I know. I'm
Yeah,
familiar.
so been asked to be a part of a thing that they're doing, I think, at the end of October.
Okay.
So I'm excited about doing that because, again, it's allowing me to get back into my gift, get back
Okay.
into my craft and everything. And like I said, I had to just wait on God to just give me the okay to say, okay,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for singing on here tonight because I didn't know that you had put down the gift for a little bit.
Yeah. No, it's
So,
all good. Like I said, I have to remember, like I said earlier with my grandmother, you use if God gave you something, you have to know when to use it,
right.
and again, I have to be conscious of I'm healing still. But
Okay.
when you sing, you heal.
Yes.
You've always healed. So why wouldn't you heal yourself? You know
Right.
what I mean? So I
Right.
have to remember that. So now, given opportunities where I can kind of do that, I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, all right, I can go ahead. I can, yeah, okay.
Okay.
So it was just an opportunity. Just go ahead. Okay, I can do this. I can do it. I got it. I can get through it.
Yes, you can do it, and you're going to do it even better than it has been done before.
Yeah, yeah,
I know when I used to preach that some of my best sermons were in my pain,
hmm hmm
and that's when God not only used me for others, but used me for me,
hmm hmm
to get through certain situations.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I get it. I
I'm,
get
I'm,
it.
I'm like I said, I'm like, okay, right. And I can hear my dad's voice, like, because he never missed a show or anything. So I was like,
Oh, how awesome is that?
yeah,
So
so I was excited.
look, before we go, I have to ask you this. Have
Okay.
you ever been on a private jet?
I
And I
have,
know this is I gotta do that.
it's
I
awesome.
have to do that.
It's amazing.
Is it like okay? And I know we're getting ready to go, but like I be telling God, all right, God, that's next. So
Look, let me tell you,
okay.
man. I'm like, okay, I gotta either sing some more or something. What I gotta do? Do I need to? Hey,
Well, wait a minute. If I somehow can arrange it, I'll tell you to come on. I'll be like, come on, come fly with us wherever.
it's it's a beautiful experience. I've been fortunate to travel privately a few times.
Okay.
Mainly when I was with Faith Hill and Tim McGraw.
Nice.
We did.
Oh, he is so cute. He's a hottie. And she is beautiful.
I'm talking about the real life Barbie and Ken. Seriously, they're
Yeah.
like yeah. I mean,
Like he is hot. And
real
I
life
love his music.
real life Barbie and Ken. Like seriously, like jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've had some wonderful opportunities.
I have been very blessed to have sung with just some amazing people, and started off as working relationships, and now are like just lifelong friendships. You know what I mean? People that I admire, um, like for instance, I my first talent show, I was 7 years old, citywide, and I won the talent show
Wow. At 7?
at 7, and I sung Tina Marie. It must be magic.
Okay. I love Tina.
And that was my favorite, I don't know what it was about Tina Marie, but that maybe the whole Square Biz must be Magic record with Square Biz and all that stuff. Portuguese Love, and maybe my mom
Uh-huh.
played it over and over again. I
I'm
don't
gonna play that tonight.
know. Right. And but I wanted Must Be Magic off of that song and everything. And so I've always loved Tina Marie, and I would always mimic her because it's it's another gift of mine. I have this gift of being able to mimic people voices,
Okay.
especially singing voices. And excuse me. Yeah, so Tina Marie, and everybody knows Tina Marie, knew that and everything. And then years later, I'm singing with Tina Marie,
Oh
and
man, ain't that good?
it's amazing. And then to the point where our working relationship ended up her really, really being one of my like musical godmothers. Like we were
Uh,
like to the point like the day she passed, I think I probably was call number 3 or 4.
oh wow. So
I'm
you
like,
were really close.
we were very close, you know. And that's she would call. I would be on the tour bus, and then my phone would ring like 3 in the morning, and I'm sitting there like, but 3 in the morning because I'm on the East Coast, so it's midnight, so she's still up. And you
Okay.
hear her, "No," and I'm like, "Ma, what you doing?
Oh,
Where you at?" She just want to know where I was at, what's going on. I'm like,
that's
to the point
beautiful.
she would have me literally sound check her microphone. Like if she was doing interviews or somewhere and she couldn't get back, and she would
Okay.
say, "Hi Mo, do my mic." And so, because she knew I could do it, and I remember one time I sound checked her mic, and people ran out because they thought she was on stage, and they were like, "That ain't Tina Marie." I'm like, "Sorry, Monet, my bad, sorry."
Wow,
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
Patty Austin's another one who became like
Okay.
my musical mothers. My big sister and mentor, direct mentor, is Lisa Fisher.
Okay, I've heard that name.
Lisa Fisher. Uh, Most notably for in rock and roll, she was with the Rolling Stones.
That's where I heard. Okay, I've seen something on her, a documentary.
Yeah, she was in 33 from Stardom. Mainly, she
Okay.
was the ones, but mainly her affiliation is Luther. She started with Luther. Her and
Okay.
Luther Vandross were best friends, and she
Okay.
fought with Luther for years. So,
Wow.
but Lisa's, so just to have these relationships, and our talent show singing her song, "How Can I Ease the Pain," and now here she is, like, Lisa, where are you at? I was like,
Aw.
so I'm just very, very fortunate, very blessed, to have just come across working relationships that turned into just relationships with people. Like I can call these people and get just some real hardcore truth and advice in whatever aspect.
I
So it's
think that's beautiful. One
very.
thing that I tell people all the time is make sure that you build those relationships,
Hmm.
because you don't know where relationships will take you. Relationships will take you where money can't,
Hmm.
you
And I,
know.
and I goes to what we were talking about, people being real ugly. If I had been, I'm that person, everything, I wouldn't have the relationships and I have those people. You
Right.
know, um, you just have to just humble yourself and everything like that, and realize they're the principles and blah blah blah. But they're just good people, and I've been really, really fortunate to just everyone that I've worked with has just been really, really cool, because you hear the horror stories. I've heard
Right.
horror stories, and
Well, you know what? Sometimes people don't understand people.
yeah.
You don't know their heart. You know what the media is giving you,
Hmm.
but you don't know the full story of
Right,
exactly what's going on. You don't have the relationship with the person to know their heart, because when
right,
you know someone's heart, you know what they will and what they won't do.
right, right.
So to me, that's important. So I'm glad that you have those type of relationships where you can validate
Hmm.
people and they can validate you. And
Yeah.
one thing that I can say is that you're phenomenal inside and out. From
Thank
the
you.
day I met you,
Thank you.
um, you were humble, you were kind, and just a beautiful spirit. So I
Thank,
want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of that.
thank you.
You know, um, and then for coming down here and inviting me to hear you sing. And me and my husband just loved
I
every
couldn't
minute.
believe Radio City in that car, you know. You know that. It's just like that's family stuff. Family. I mean, your city girl, where you at? Come on, dude.
Right, right. And I told my husband, look, we got to go. And we did, and
And
it
I
was
appreciate it.
beautiful. And we looking through that glass like, hey. But it was great. So tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Well, I'm always reachable. Website www.missmonet. That's MSMONET.com. I'm
And
always message me there. Facebook. On Facebook, I think it's Moniacs. My fans are called Moniacs. You know, so you can find just the fan page. You know,
okay.
Facebook.com /Moniacs is MONIC. What is it? Monia, MONIACS. Monia.
Okay.
Brain moving over here. I'm snapping.
It's okay. It's okay.
And of course, Twitter, Miss Monet,
Instagram.
and IG, the Miss Monet. And yeah, so I'm on all the good stuff.
Oh, well, I would like to say thank you for gracing us
Thank you for
with
having me.
your presence. Of course, I'm going to invite you. And, and congratulations on singing for what is that, Habitat for Humanity, the end of October. I can't wait to see the updates and hear about it and all that kind of good stuff. But
Yeah.
thank you. And to my listening audience, you are on one with Sharon K. Griffin and our special guest, Miss Monet, two-time Grammy Award winning artist.
Crazy. I'm
Have a
sorry.
blessed
I
night,
didn't know
everybody.
who is it? She's nuts. Who is that crazy person?
Miss Monet with the beautiful smile and spirit. Thank you, everyone.
your way because freedom costs you the bus. You're not lost, just free.